Today I'm be providing you 10 top tips to help you early with Wanted Dead. Now I'm not allowed to show any game footage at this time, so I'm just going to be reading off these tips. Our first tip is bullets are limited, even on normal difficulty. Aim for the head or you will find yourself forced to rush with melee. Tip number 2, you can go from full health to dead real quick if you're staying still. Go cover to cover and use your sidestep when going from one cover to the next to minimize damage. Tip number 3, when fighting close quarters, keep in mind melee enemies can deal massive damage. You have a guard button, don't always spam melee. Attack strategically and be ready to shoot if they back up or guard if they melee. Another tip on the topic is when fighting melee enemies to hold guard until you bait their attack, then counter. You will hear a clear audible of metal striking metal when you block, and they will glow. The moment after you hear that metal striking metal is your time to strike. Tip number 4, cover is your friend. It will protect you from bullets, and depending on the cover, a grenade that lands in front of it won't even do any damage. Always press enemies from cover to cover whenever possible to minimize damage, and when possible, take the enemies out from cover and then press the next set of enemies. Tip number 5, your melee is quite powerful against gun enemies. Keep in mind, gun enemies can melee at close range, but you can bring down gun enemies very quickly if you catch them near cover. Take them out with the melee, then go back into the position that you were just at, that cover position, or press the next cover position. Tip number 6, this is mostly for skilled players, but prioritize accuracy over recoil in the weapon customization. Bullets are limited, it takes many bullets to bring down enemies, but if you higher your accuracy on your guns and you use burst shots, you can quickly bring down the enemies with fast controlled headshots. Tip number 7, your guard can negate or minimize projectile damage. You can strafe guard your way into pressing enemies when cover to cover isn't an option. Tip number 8, many sections allow you to backtrack a little bit. This is especially useful when you're struggling with a section or a checkpoint, especially after you take out the first couple enemies. That will even widen your area of play that the enemies are not pressing you. You can use this to fight less enemies at a time, making the battle easier. Tip number 9, when enemies glow, you can melee for a special finisher that when performed not only kills the enemy, but regens some of your health. Our final tip is a basic one, but it should be done. Always be looking at your skill points and your weapon upgrades in between checkpoints and see if there's a better part that you can put on a weapon, or there's another skill you've been looking at that now you can get. Upgrading your character sooner than later only has an upside. After the game officially launches, I will be uploading each chapter done on hard mode over the course of the next week, which you can check out on my channel. If you like the video, leave a like, comment, share. It helps others find the video. I hope this helped.